Gyrfalcon's Hauberk is absolutely insane now. This past Tuesday, Bungie reworked the entire exotic and it is now stronger than ever, specifically for PvE. Taking a look at the exotic, they reworked the way that this perk works. The way it works now is that whenever you exit your invisibility, you gain volatile rounds for 10 seconds. Whenever you are invisible and defeat a combatant with a finisher, you will then get a bonus to your weapon damage and you will grant an overshield to your allies. The main thing to focus on here is the fact that we now have volatile rounds every single time we exit invisibility. That alone is absolutely insane. And even without any mods or even a decent stat spread, you can make an absolutely crazy build just using this exotic. I did put together a void build that really gets the most out of this exotic. It's very easy to throw together. Like I said, even with no mods and half decent stats, you can still make an incredible build just using this exotic. We're going to break it all down. I'll show you all the pieces here. So if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like down below and smash that subscribe button, but let's dive right into it and take a look at this build. So even with just this exotic alone, you can have permanent volatile rounds up all the time on your hunter, even if you don't have 100 mobility. Every single time we dodge, we're able to turn invisible, and every time we exit invisibility, we will have volatile rounds for 10 seconds. We can pair that with a ton of fragments and aspects to create an absolutely amazing build. Looking at the subclass, I am using Mobius Quiver. I just prefer the burst damage that comes out of the super. If you want to use Deadfall, go ahead. I am using Marksman Dodge. I prefer the reload on my weapon, and it does have a shorter cooldown than Gambler's Dodge, which really comes in handy for keeping that invisibility loop going. We will take Vortex Grenade. This is a classic Void Grenade. It's very good for debuffing targets, which we will do with our fragments, and we can increase the duration of it as well. What really makes this build pop off are the aspects. The first one we're taking, of course, is Vanishing Step. This makes it so anytime we dodge, we instantly turn invisible. This goes hand in hand with Gyrfalcons. We dodge to turn invisible, and as soon as we shoot our weapon, we are instantly granted volatile rounds for 10 seconds. Taking it even further, we take Stylish Executioner. This makes it so anytime we defeat a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target, we are granted invisibility again. This creates an absolutely insane loop where we dodge to get that first invisibility, and as soon as we exit that, we have volatile for 10 seconds. The next target we hit, they will be made volatile, and as soon as they are defeated, we instantly turn invisible again because of Stylish Executioner. You can chain this loop over and over and over again and basically have permanent volatile rounds up all the time. With that loop in mind, the fragments we're going to take is Echo of Undermining. This makes it so our Void Grenade weakens targets. This gives us another way of turning invisible as well. If you get caught out, you can toss your grenade, debuff the target, defeat them, and turn invisible again. We also take Echo of Remnants, which is going to make our grenade last longer, just gives us additional damage there. We then take Echo of Persistence, where all of our void buffs will last longer. That makes our invisibility, overshield, and devour have increased duration. And finally, we take Echo of Starvation, where picking up an Orb of Power grants devour. Now, I really enjoy this fragment because it's incredibly strong to have devour. The only problem with it is that if your super is full, you're not going to be able to pick up those orbs to reproc devour. You can run an explosive light weapon in your heavy slot, so you can always pick up those orbs. That's totally up to you, or you could totally swap this fragment out for something else entirely. Now, like I said, you can make this build work without using any mods, but it's very easy to put a quick setup together that makes the loop even better. The first mod we're going to take is Reaping Wellmaker. This makes it so after activating our class ability, where we dodge and turn invisible, your next weapon final blow on a combatant spawns a Void Elemental Well. We will then take Well of Utility. This makes it so when we pick up that Void Elemental Well, it grants us a nice chunk of our class ability energy. This really helps with making sure we always have our dodge off cooldown, so we can always turn invisible. Then we will take Well of Tenacity. This gives us some nice added damage resistance. We can constantly be making wells since we'll have a really fast dodge cooldown. This just adds a little layer of survivability on top. We will then take Font of Might. This makes it so when we pick up those void wells, we get a 25% increase to our weapon damage. This isn't completely necessary, but it's very nice for melting those bigger champions. Combined with volatile rounds on our weapons, you can really do some serious damage and just delete everything. And then finally on our class item, we do want to take the seasonal mod Weakened Clear. This makes it so when we use a grenade launcher, damaging a boss, damaging a champion, or breaking a combatant's shield will reload all of our weapons and weaken the combatant. That weakened keyword is crucial for Void 3.0. It does synergize with everything. It's going to allow us to turn invisible when we defeat that target. I do recommend a Stasis class item so you can use utility Kickstart. This will help reduce our dodge cooldown even further. Now, as you can see, even on my hunter here, my stat spread is not great. I only have 80 mobility, 80 resilience, but that's more than enough. Even with 80 mobility, when we have things like Well of Utility and double utility Kickstart, we're able to get our dodge back constantly before that volatile rounds runs out. So this is all you really need to have permanent volatile rounds. You can easily go for 100 if you want to, but it's not necessary. If you're like me, you have a really bad roll on your Gyrfalcon, so my stat spread really isn't helping me out here. You do want to go for as much resilience as possible. This adds, of course, more damage resistance to the build. If you can hit 100 resilience, that is ideal. Now, as far as our weapons go, there are a ton of options. I do recommend a Void primary weapon. The Unforgiven SMG is fantastic. There's a lot of amazing rolls on this. If you have a Void primary that has Repulsor Brace, you can make the build even better because we're constantly going to have volatile rounds. We defeat those volatile targets and we are constantly granted an overshield. Those overshields were recently buffed to grant even more damage resistance this season. It went from 25% to 50%. So absolutely use a Repulsor Brace weapon with this build if you can. I don't have one yet because my RNG is trash. In my kinetic slot, I am using the Lingering Dread grenade launcher. This has Chill Clip, which is nice for controlling packs of adds, but it also allows us to activate that Weakened Clear debuff from our artifact. And finally, in your heavy slot, I do recommend also using a Void weapon. This will benefit from Font of Might as well as volatile rounds. You could use a rocket launcher, a machine gun, or a linear fusion. Whatever you've got that will work great with this build. Now, a couple extra mods to keep in mind. On your helmet, you of course want to be taking Harmonic Siphon so that we're creating orbs of light from all of our Void weapon kills so we can constantly keep Devour going. And on your arms, you will want to run Bolstering Detonation. This makes it so we get extra class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. You may not need this if you have 100 mobility, but there are a ton of mods that you can use to help make up for it if you do not have 100 mobility. And finally, on your legs, it is important to use these Orb of Power mods. There's a lot of different ones depending on the element of legs that you're using. I prefer to use a solar leg as this gives us access to recuperation, which gives us health regen on orb pickup. We can also run Innervation, which reduces our grenade cooldown when we pick up an Orb of Power. Just wanted to put out a quick video. I'm sure everyone in the Destiny community has heard about this by now, but you definitely have to give this a try this season. With the rework, Gyrfalcon's Hauberk is on a new level. There will be a dim link down in the description if you want to copy this build over for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave a like down below and smash that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.